Hey everyone, look, I'm just gonna come out and say it. I'm not excited for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. The gameplay just looks like a slog with mindless shooting at purple weak points and no character individuality since everybody can just use any gun they want. But the thing that irks me the most about this is the fact that this is supposed to be a continuation of the Batman Arkham series, one of my favorite video game franchises of all time. There were so many better ways they could have continued this franchise without just randomly introducing two major super teams out of nowhere. So today, I wanted to talk about some potential Arkham spin-off games that I believe would have been better than Kill the Justice League. And of course, if you have any other ideas for potential spin-off games, don't hesitate to let me know in the comments. So, without further ado, let's get started. So speaking of disappointing DC superhero games, Gotham Knights feels like what we could expect coming into Suicide Squad. Which is a shame because I think that a proper Bat Family game could have been done extremely well if they made it an Arkham series spin-off. Think about it, you could even keep the multiplayer aspect of it. In Arkham Knight, there were a bunch of times where you teamed up with another Bat Family member and you could even do dual team takedowns. And not just in regular combat, but in Predator encounters as well. Imagine playing a whole game like that with you and a friend or AI. We already have completely original move and gadget sets for each member of the Bat Family in the Arkhamverse. As for the story, we already have a pretty good setup coming out of the end of Arkham Knight. Batman quote-unquote died, leaving the rest of the vigilantes to take his place and protect Gotham. Actually, that's the one part of Gotham Knights that they actually did kind of right. You can even still have the Court of Owls as a villain since that's one of the things they set up in Arkham Origins. In fact, I feel like originally Gotham Knights was supposed to be a sequel to Arkham Knight before I guess they changed their minds and wanted to do something completely different. Anyway, I think this one is probably the easiest and most obvious spin-off they could make. This is a game that I've wanted for a long time. Imagine, he was already incredibly fun to play in Origins. All they would need to do is somehow incorporate his swords and guns into his combat system, which I don't think would be too hard considering they already made a character who uses guns. And what if you could choose what weapons you go out with, kinda like the mission system used in Metal Gear Solid 5. Since Deathstroke is a master soldier and assassin, he would only go into missions using what he believes is necessary to complete it. So you could have the player decide which weapons or tools are necessary to complete certain missions. You think katanas are best for this? Go ahead. You want to try for a more non-lethal approach? Choose the bow staff. This gameplay choice could also tie into his more anti-heroic nature, often seen in his own stories. As for the story of the game goes, the possibilities are endless. You could have it be a straight sequel to Arkham Knight, or, more interestingly in my opinion, you could have it be a prequel to Knight. Have it pick up right after the Origins post-credit scene. You could even show how he met the Arkham Knight, or finally tie up that loose end with Shiva and have a boss fight with her. Again, the possibilities are endless, and I really wish we had this game instead of what we're eventually going to get. So, I've said it before in previous videos how I believe that if they were going to do an Arkham spin-off of a brand new hero in this universe, then the best option would be Green Arrow. He's a non-superpowered hero with loads of gadgets at his disposal, and he is good at both close combat and stealth encounters. And Oliver Queen himself has been mentioned multiple times in the Arkham series, starting with Arkham Origins. Since Green Arrow himself hasn't been mentioned yet, the game could be an origin story, allowing both Oliver and the player to learn the archery mechanics at the same time. It definitely wouldn't be the easiest game to make, but damn, it would be fun. So this is another cool one they could do. Azrael basically has the same moveset as Arkham Batman, and he even uses the same gadgets. Obviously, if he had his own game, they would need to tweak that and give him some gadgets and moves of his own. Also, this game would have to go under the assumption that the player chose the good ending for him in Arkham Knight, where he went off to end the Order of St. Dumas for basically brainwashing him into becoming Azrael. I'm imagining a game that's a mix of Arkham Knight and Assassin's Creed. Imagine jumping, gliding, and grappling around the rooftops of Spain, seeing the ancient architecture everywhere you go. I know this one wouldn't be nearly as popular as any of the others I'm talking about today, but I kinda wish this game existed anyway. So this last one I'm going to talk about is a bit different from the rest. I know I said that I was disappointed to see that Suicide Squad was just going to be a boring third-person shooter, but there's actually a superhero third-person shooter that I absolutely loved. The Arkham Origins multiplayer mode. Back when multiplayer shooters were the craze, WB Montreal wanted to get in on that action, and what they came up with was actually a pretty well-made and fun game. It was unique from other multiplayer shooters in that there were 3 teams instead of the usual 2. You had Bane's gang, Joker's gang, and the hero team consisting of Batman and Robin. Imagine if they expanded on that concept for a fully fledged game. You could have more class variety like we eventually saw in Arkham Knight. What if you could play as a medic who could revive fallen teammates, or a heavy gunner who's immune to silent takedowns? They can even bring in more playable heroes or villains. In Arkham Origins, the only named characters you can play as were Batman, Robin, Joker, and Bane. Could you imagine freezing tons of people as Mr. Freeze or performing stealth chain takedowns with Ra's al Ghul? They could have a point system like in Star Wars Battlefront 2 where you obtain points naturally by killing enemies and completing objectives where you can then use them to play as stronger classes or main villains. There's just so much potential in this idea that I might just have to save this for another video. But I think that will do it for today. Tell me in the comments if you would want to play any of these games, and if not, what Arkham spin-offs would you like to see? And of course, as always, thank you for watching. Remember to like it if you liked it, subscribe if you really liked it, and I'll see you next time.